Brothers and sisters, generals, welcome to another edition of EBX Discussion and/or EBX and Lord Lamont Show, which we'll be doing a father and son discussion Friday. So thank those that's been riding along, current subscriber, new subscriber, anybody that view, I salute you. And may that great divine be in our life, keep us strong and keep us prospering, as many of us are doing in these times, and stay aware as we possibly can, like our ancestors did, far and near. The generals, the warriors who didn't give up, man, and fought for humanity and their culture and their families way before technology. That's a powerful thing to me, something I will always ponder and I will always honor. But as I say many times, the body may lay to rest, but the righteous warrior spirit lives on, and it's living through many brothers and sisters in the world, online, in our families, our children. Be thankful for those who are aware and ready for the wars or fires that may come, depending on how we look at it. If it's a war, but if we blaze through wars in the past, we know, what tools, what righteous tools we'll need for this here present we're in right now, because different things going on all over the globe, different cities, states, continents, countries, different things happening. But at the same time, the same thing, especially when it comes to psychological and spiritual warfare. So that's why learning is power all day long. When we're in a space of learning, it's wonderful. And it brings a righteous ripple effect, which is on the banner, and at all costs for our families, ourselves, and just being aware of the ways and sways of some of these toxic things in this world. Stand bold as a general, learning is power for real, and rest in peace and in power, MJ, which I have on my thumbnail and or banner. And MJ and a lot of his songs were messages. Now that I go back and listen to him, when you become a little more aware, as a lot of us are, salute my spell breakers, where a lot of us are aware these days. And salute to the new subscriber that just subscribed, I think today or yesterday. Salute, I thank you. And those who've been riding along, we're all on a journey, so again, stay learning, because it can be a very powerful thing. Again, a righteous ripple effect, and then what's the opposite of a righteous ripple effect? Toxic. So we know what happens. So I don't even really have to get into that. So stay right as we possibly can. Conquer that human flesh, and the deep spiritual, powerful spiritual will come. I guarantee it. And it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. Now let's get back to MJ. Rest in peace and in power. On my banner is the Earth song, which is very, very powerful. And I took this shot, because MJ was angry in this song. And as we know, many songs he sang were always with passion. He gave every song he sang 100%, every one, true genius of music, and took music to a whole nother level. And another beautiful thing, as we all know, MJ was way before his time. So salute to the power he left. His spirit is still among us. And of course, on the thumbnail is they don't care about us. Of course, he was in Africa. Salute Mama Africa. I love Mama Africa. May that great divine protect our brothers and sisters in Africa, where everything began. The home of inventions, the home of geniuses, creators, man, goddesses and guys. That's where it all stemmed from. Mama Africa, hands down. I don't care what nobody say. Now, I know there are other beautiful places, but I'm not talking about other places. I'm talking about Mama Africa, where my black culture stemmed from. That's why, that's why the athleticism and the grace we have, the love, the power, how we can tap deep in to our core and do things that a lot of other cultures can't do. But not trying to put one against each other or divide, just speaking facts, But we come from a loving culture. We were tainted by outside evil entities, as we all know. But let's get back to MJ. That's why I got him. I get deep when I speak on Africa. So you're going to hear me get a little aggressive. I will defend Africa at all costs. And guess what, folks? Never been there a day in my life, but always loved it, studied it, and appreciated it. Because as things are going, that's the place to be. That's why I've never made fun of Africa. The very thing we make fun of could be the very thing that make us cry. Thus, Africa. Because there's a lot of people that have moved over there. They don't talk about that in the media. It's, man, half the globe then damn near moved over to Africa or trying to. That's real talk. But they don't talk about things like that. But anyway, let's get back to MJ. And which was a very powerful song on one's banner, the Earth song. And, I did a podcast with this on my banner before, but I guess the song in it was copyright. I don't know. I took it down, but I had to talk about it again because there were some great messages in MJ's songs, and it's beautiful. I so appreciate those who make music and left a divine footprint. MJ understood that higher power, that real higher power, not this false man-made God that people follow, not that. No, MJ tapped into something that some of us will probably never tap into. I mean, he did, and that Earth song showed it. If you really listen to that Earth song, he screamed in that song, and in the song, if you listen to it, he was asking questions and he was angry, kind of a righteous anger. He said, he was saying, what about the homeless? What about the common man? What about our children? What about the earth? Why are we destroying Mama Nature or trying to, just different things like that he was saying in the song. Messages like that song, You Are Not Alone. He wasn't just talking about the human being being alone. He was saying that there's a higher power out there, great divine, that's with us at all times. That's what he was saying in that song. Now, when one wasn't studying and researching, I didn't pay attention to things like that. But when you go listen to that song now, it takes on a whole different meaning. When one is really aware of the world, person, place, thing. So that's what he was saying in that song, We Are Not Alone, saying that there's a higher power that watches over us, especially when we're a righteous warrior, thus general. So I just wanted to speak on that and just send out that righteous ripple effect. Stand bold, in our purpose, our greatness. Stay away from toxicity at all costs, subtle or big, but especially the subtle, because as we all know, it can fester into something bigger. So salute to MJ for that. The Earth song, beautiful. It sends chills through my body every time I hear that song, and of course, they don't care about us. We all know that song was powerful. And, I thank MJ for leaving a righteous footprint, that not too many can feel. Real talk, and the fires he dealt with and adversities and, but like I say, you can take away the body, but you can do nothing to a strong, righteous spirit that lives on. As many of our historians, our black brothers and sisters, who were the righteous leaders before us, their spirit still among us, the list goes on and on. So I'm just going to say all the righteous generals before us as brothers and sisters who stood up for justice, humanity, and or culture. Their spirit still among us. That's why we got all these warriors and teachers out here, So salute to MJ, because he's our inspiration today. Y'all know I love to rhyme. I love to do this. I have different inspirations on the thumbnail under a banner. And so MJ is what we're drawing energy from, And of course, we're going to have a hip hop break. And I got 4 spellbreaker statements. And I want to read a page from one's book, Unlocking the Vault. As I said in the past, I wrote a book, 50 pages, Unlocking the Vault. And I'm starting a new book, Solitude Strength. I'm on page 5. And I read that page, if I'm not mistaken, on the last podcast about super vigilance, which was another depiction of Africa I had on the banner, So one day I'll go to Africa, one day soon, maybe, who knows, and connect with all the divine warriors that I haven't, maybe haven't met face to face. That'd be wonderful, authenticity, beautiful, and connect with our generals, but don't be too consumed and drawn in to social media and or media, as a lot of us are aware. As I like to say, I'm just a message, I'm just a messenger. And so that's why I take breaks off of the media. And like I said, MJ on the banner here, powerful. Man, we can draw energy from this, inspiration, let nothing stand in our way. And I'll even give a little example. And right before I began doing this podcast, and I'm sure many of us has experienced it, especially those who are enlightened and for real and can see this punk ass matrix for what the hell it is, Little things that come across our path. As I like to say, when we at a place of awareness or super vigilance, righteous super vigilance, and we're standing up for justice and not taking no shit, toxicity will be highlighted. I'm gonna give a little example. Right before I was getting ready to do this podcast, and I was real quiet, nothing going on. Of course, then I got a friend request because I don't be on Facebook, but the little corner of my computer, little messages pop up, but I really don't go on there. And of course, I had a friend request, and guess what it showed? A voluptuous sister. Now, she was beautiful, and it wasn't really too provocative or nothing, wasn't nothing nasty, but just little things like that can sway us. Because, as I reiterate, I used to have a challenge with lusting. Now, there was a time where I would get a friend request, and I'm sure many of us get this, inboxes, messenger, you name it, and it could have been innocent, because like I said, her profile picture wasn't too revealing, but just had a dress on, and she was beautiful, voluptuous, whatever. But I don't let things like that sway me, so I just smile to oneself. And sometimes I do a little investigation, and the page is empty, and there wasn't no recent post, and you got to watch things like that. So that's just an example how things can throw us when we're on a righteous path. So just got to be careful of things like that. So that's just an example. Then, of course, it was noises outside. This happened and that happened. So, but we blaze through and we get that message out. So that's just an example. And again, a lot of us experience this. But again, when we have that super vigilance, brothers and sisters, spell breakers, we just smile because we know what it is. When we know what we're capable of deep within, we don't have to jump off impulses. We don't have to do this and do that. We just flow like Mama Nature and let that great divine lead the way. Because that great divine is what guided us and forced us to blaze through fires before now. Like MJ said, we're not alone. Some of us, it's been a divine spirit with us. Some of us do know. If we think back, those divine moments that we can't explain, when we're in the right, in our mind, body, and soul, it's just amazing. And I don't go for coincidences. It's just divine things will happen, and sometimes we won't understand right away, but somehow, some way, we will down the road. And I'm sure many of us have experienced that. I call that divine evidence that there is a higher power out there. And I'm not talking about, again, not this pleasurized God, not this man-made God, not the God people use to manipulate and sound good. No, I'm talking about something that guides us through any storm, not some storms, every and any storm, and that's what keeps us standing bold and sending out that righteous ripple effect is wonderful. But we got to stand bold in it and always be in a place of learning, because learning is powerful. Nothing can fuck with you when you're learning and listening, and not thinking we know everything now. We know thyself, but we don't think we know everything, can be bullhead. Got to listen to some things so we can learn, especially in these times, with the government shut down and, we already know the stamps getting cut and all that stuff. So we got to be ready for things, for the unpredictable. As I love to say, this world can be so unpredictable, but we as divine warriors and generals, we be unpredictable right with it. There's always a way. If we're seeking and learning, it's power, brothers and sisters. We find a way. Again, those who have tapped in to their divine spirit, to the gut, to the root of our soul, I don't know. That's a gift great divine gave all of us generals. We always find a way. And for my Christians, now I'm not a Christian. I'm not beating up on them, but these Christians talking about how they love God and all that. Let's see how much you really love God in these times. Real talk. That's great divine is showing you. Okay, you say you love me, right? I'm going to see just how much you love me. And these times, great divine is showing that, the real one now. So, and people say they waiting for God, how they say, quote unquote, what they say, Jesus. I'm not into the whole, I don't subscribe to the old Jesus religion. I'm out of that. I'm not a Christian. I'm just speaking on what Christians say. They say Jesus is coming back, quote unquote. Now let's say, now I don't believe in it. I don't go for it. I'm just for the sake of conversation, an example. Okay, let's say if there was such a thing as Jesus coming back. Guess what, folks? If he was, he's here. That's why these things are happening. It was such a force. It's here now. But I'm just speaking for Christian's sake. I'm not a Christian. I'm not into religion. I go straight to the source, which is that great, great divine. And where does it reside? Deep, deep within our gut, in our soul, not on the outside. So I just gotta make that clear. But the time of faith and loving that great divine is now. Now we're seeing who's who. Real talk. And that's even within ourselves and others and within ourselves. We're seeing who the truthful, the truth sayers, the real truthful teachers out there. We're seeing who they are, and we're seeing who the false ones are via celeb or personal lives in the world online. So just be right. And again, it's not about being this perfect, deep spiritual person. It's just being right. And as I love to say, folks, say it with me, the deep spiritual will come. But we have to be in the place of learning. We have to get our flesh in check. Real talk. Like I was just speaking on a little while ago, that friend request I got. Now, really, it's not to a person that's aware, it's a small thing. But to one that's not in control of oneself, because that's what happens. Like these sidebars, ads, stuff like that. All it takes is one sway or one click. Then you click onto it. Then you're clicking onto this. Then you're clicking onto that. Then you get away from whatever, especially if you did have some kind of purpose for that day or something like that. And then you, because the social media and the media in general will have you like that. You'll look away from it and find yourself an hour later like, what the heck? I was supposed to be doing this. So gotta be careful of that. That's why I speak on that. And I spoke on things like that in the past because I don't do Instagram. I don't do TikTok, Facebook. I be on YouTube, but I take days off. I be on it. I'll say I take days off posting, but I do be on it. But it's not. Sometimes I like to listen to comedy or hip hop or music, any kind of music. Or I might even listen to somebody who's motivational speaking, something like that. But I take days off, take a breather, because it feels refreshed once one comes back on and starts speaking. But again, I've spoken in the past when I go on Instagram and you get those little secret messages, people try to sneak in. Got to be very careful of that, because anyone could easily get drawn in and get caught up. That's how powerful the media and or social media can be. And this is the principle advice I would give to others, but this is the principle Brother EBS Cares go by. Never underestimate the power of the media and or social media. If you could know those things, we could blaze through this life. Righteous ripple effect. And again, stand bold. Keep our eyes on that righteous sparrow. Our eye on that righteous sparrow. And what is that? Ourselves, children, family, significant other. Righteous ripple effect. Work our way out into our generals. Remember, we got generals in that realm too. Because we have generals we may be related to, and some we may not. Some we may have spoke to, some we may have not. Because a question I like to ask, and I'll ask this from time to time: do we know who our allies are? Again, allies are not just those online. I'm talking about it could be in our families, our children. It could be online, in the world online. I always say that. It's good to know who our allies are and be an ally. Again, our family is not our enemy. Our significant other is not our enemy. Those who speak righteously, standing upright, that have put in the work, they are not our enemy. We have to get through the hard truth, to get to that warrior status, that general status. Be a little humble sometimes, not a naive, stupid humble, just humble in some areas. And that's the power of learning, So like MJ did, he looked powerful on his banner. He meant business. Real talk. Again, Mike might have talked soft and all that, but inside MJ was a straight up general. He was a warrior. He was. And he showed it through his music and in life, So salute to rest in peace and in power, MJ. And like I said, I had on the thumbnail, I had to get a shot of Africa. I'm always gonna show homage and honor to Africa. Salute to Mama Africa. Again, to all the brothers and sisters over there, those who may be having a struggle and been swayed by evil entities, may that great divine protect them and bring that light to them and show that they're living on the most richest, beautiful continent on the planet, you know. All right, so I want to get to this hip hop break because this might not be a long one. And I got 4 spell breaker statements, if I didn't say that already. And I'm going to read a page from my book, Unlocking the Vault. So I'm going to get to this hip hop break. And I'm going to do the 4 spell breaker statements first when I come back. And then a page from my book, Unlocking the Vault. And again, thank those that's been riding along. And keep that divine in everything. And again, rest in peace and in power. MJ for that powerful They Don't Care About Us and Mama Africa and the Earth song on the banner. Powerful, powerful stuff, man. That's MJ will impact us for life. Real talk. I'm so thankful, you know. Again, be thankful for those who do their craft. I always say, whether it's music, or you a powerful speaker, ain't taking no crap, male or female, brother or sister, man, that sing or speak from the toes through the soul. That's the most. It's beautiful when one is in that space. All right, let me see. Get to these songs. And both of these I played before, but like I said, these songs that I play are for those who may not have heard it, and also a reminder. And like the times we're coming into, the times we're in, I would say, what are you or what are we gonna do when the truth comes for you? Because guess what, brothers and sisters, it's coming, whether we like it or not. You know, like I said, Great Divine is exposing any and everything, as well as Mama Nature. They seeing just how much we love them, you know. And like I say, we can't glorify, you know, I say God, quotation marks, because I'm going with, you know, the narrative of the world. You know, we can't glorify God when things are going good. Like I like to say, we got to put that Great Divine in everything. And it got to come from the gut, you know, not just when things are going good, you know, or, you know, well, when things are going good, that's when we better pay attention, you know, and then we can be ready for when challenges do come, because they will, you know, because nothing is more beautiful than being ready for ourselves, our family, you know. Real talk, you know, brothers and sisters that we have linked with, you know, have a protective spirit. Yep, so I'll be back after this. What are we going to do when the truth comes for me or you? Be back.
Yeah, wake up music. Yeah, brothers and sisters, what you gonna do when the truth come for you? Yeah. Divine within, we won't lose. Yeah. My brothers and sisters and me too. Yeah. What we gonna do when the truth come for you? You. Divine within, and we won't lose. Yeah. Brothers and sisters and me too. Yeah. Two. I'ma stay firm on this song, doing things, yeah, to make us strong. I'ma stick to that divine zone. Yeah, we never, ever alone. Like a God spirit, a deep within. The in this life is how we win, like Lauryn Hill. Yes, she said, that's why she here, cause she had a right head. Yeah, that divine is where we should be led and never be wrong. And this is why I'm here. We got no time, avoid no fear. And fuck the past and no tears. I'm standing so strong for my family. Make a show in this life that we can see. I'm standing on this ground and I'm thankful I'm around with this power and positive sound. Yeah. You know what though? Real talk. EBX. What you gonna do when the truth come for you? You. Yeah. Brothers and sisters and me too. Yeah. If they divine within and we won't lose. Yeah. What you gonna do when the truth come for you? Yeah, stay strong, got the vine in my bones. Yeah, I stand here, it's the reason why I'm on the song. Never will stop on this MIC, cause I got that light that's so deep in thee. I'm thinking that divine for making E. And for my children and family, I float like a wave when I'm on this music. In this life, that's how I make it through it. Man, I can't stop, I just gotta do it. Build them skills, try to be real, I keep that love. love, and we stay sealed. Yeah, watch out, yeah, for the doom. Good things coming, and it's coming soon. Also, man, we coming to the truth. And stay on point, do what we gotta do. You know what though? Gotta be ready. Cause what you gonna do when the truth come for you? Yeah, and stay divine within, and we won't lose. Brothers and sisters, and me too. What you gonna do when the truth come for you? Brothers and sisters, and me too.
Real talk, brothers and sisters, me too, cause it's here. Real talk, the truth is here. And boy, I'm gonna get into some things I've been observing, and like we all do, those who are aware, salute. If you are in a good space, whether you're just upright or you a deep spiritual person, wherever we are in our part of the world right now, and we have a stable mind, and we are somewhat, anticipating and being ready for this here present and our future. Salute yourself. Be proud. I'm proud of those. My children. I'm gonna get into that. My son Ethan, Lord Lamont, one's family. Stay with it. May they great divine. Keep us protected and vigilant, So let's get to the next song, Thanking Thee. And I'm thanking thee in an aggressive way. We like I say about these Christians, can't be floating on no cloud, because it's getting real talk. How much do you really love God, quote unquote? You know what I mean? So it's talking and saying. Saying and doing. Saying and doing is two different things, brothers and sisters. All right, but be thankful at all times. Good times, bad times, always stay thankful, because that's good for our what? Our immune system. How many of us think about our immune system? Ponder that. All right, be back after this. Thanking thee.
I'm thanking that great divine for one's children and my family and brothers and sisters. I'm thanking thee, for being up in me, protecting children and my family. I gotta thank thee, for being up in me, protect my children and my family. Man, I gotta thank thee, for being up in me, protect my children and my family. I gotta thank thee, for being up in me, protect my children and my family. Being up in me, and I stay up on these songs. This how I stay strong. I always stay connected to the divine zone. I never ever stop and hip hop. I love to drop. Keep that love in my spirit. Keep it a lot. I'm moving on. And yeah, living long. And we do this and stay around. And we own. And when we righteous in the belly of our soul, I want that for my family and my sisters and my bros. Good energy, man. Gotta keep it in thee. And I'm thanking great divine for being in me and making me never stop giving others their props and good energy. Gotta keep it alive, man. I'm thanking thee, for being in me, protect my kids and my family. While we out here in the streets, brothers and sisters, man, I'm thanking thee for everything, man, I've been through. That's why in this life, generals don't lose. No. My warriors and my soldiers are here. We never standing down. And godly people here, and we still around. I will never stop, and I always drop, and I do this a lot. And I love the bottom, as I say, F the top. Good things, and I'm stay wise in this life. And I never repeat toxic shit twice. Yeah, let's go. Thanking thee, for being up in me, protect my children and my family. While we out here in these streets, brothers and sisters, man, I'm thanking thee, for being up in me, protect my children and my family. While we out here in these streets, great divine.
Real talk. Thank thee, man, every day. Stay thankful, brothers and sisters, but gotta be aggressive with it. Again, we can't be this floating on the cloud. No, we gotta be real. It's because it's getting real. Real talk again. We don't be uptight and serious all the time, but Be ready to stand on business. And I actually text my mom and my uncle, and I told them if they needed anything, let me know. That's how we got to be. We got to help one another, because we coming into some very complex times. Best way we can. If money's tight, thing. But even if it's just a positive word, something, because it's getting real. And complex things are coming, whether we want it to or not. So I would, like I said, the best advice I can give: it's better to be aware than not aware, all day, every day. Now I want to speak on a few things, and again, I got some spell breaker statements that I'm gonna read. Forgive me for the paper shuffling. Brother E getting up there in the old age, so I have to write things down because I want to make sure I get out everything one wants to say. Because again, I take this serious, as well as my son Lord Lamont, and he and I have come a long way, as many of our great warriors out there, brother, sister, family in the world, online. Now I wanted to speak on a few things before I get to these spellbreaker statements and one's page, unlocking the book. Now, I don't get into the old celeb thing too much. I've kind of fell back from the celeb thing. I kind of observe, because I have to say some of these celebrities are really disappointing and really letting a lot of us down. We've been we've been riding along with some of these celebs for years, but I don't know. They need a show called Celebs Going Wild. I don't know what the heck is going on with these celebrities and what, I don't know. But man, may that great divine protect those who maybe just got caught up, and it's just a struggle to get out. But I don't know what's going on with these celebs. That's why I don't worship them anymore, and I don't know what's going to happen with them. But may they find peace, whoever they are. Some of them, things that's happened to them, they brought it on themselves. And I'm talking artists, movie stars, you name it, et cetera, NBA players, football players. I don't know what the hell's going on, so I just hope they find peace, but there's other major things really going on as far as the common man and the common woman, as MJ spoke on in that song, the Earth song. As he said, what about the common man? What about the common woman? What about the child, the children? People get a hinkling of power, and I'm speaking anybody, get a little bit of, I don't know, influence, power, and just lose their damn mind. That's neither here nor there. But we gotta protect our immediate family and those that we care about, that we are connected to, far and near. Remember, above and beyond, in the world, online, because there are some righteous generals online too, brother and sister. So be thankful if we are connected to generals like that, even if we haven't spoke to them. Like I said, I got generals, teachers I've learned from, brother and sister, and I'm glad that I have learned from them and spoke with them, because I've learned new information about Africa, and it's wonderful. If you are connected to someone who's literally living on African soil, that you better be thankful. That's divine. You know what I'm saying? You better be thankful, because there's information we can get from brothers and sisters about Africa that we're not going to find in the media unless we're a seeker and we're learning. Remember, learning is power, brothers and sisters. Stand bold, righteous, ripple effect. So that's all I got to say about celebs. I just call down protection from that great divine for them, that they find peace. And some were aware what they were getting into. So you get what you got, what you put out. So, all right, let's move on over to my son, Ethan. Salute. I'm proud of my son, Ethan. Got a text from his teacher, because I stay in contact with his teacher. And I spoke on a couple podcasts ago how he was kind of, because every day is not going to be easy, especially when it comes to children. And he did have a little challenge last week, but he actually came back and apologized, and that's good for his sake, because he was, because I said I had to work on sometimes he does get a little anger sometimes and don't know how to control his emotions. He's a child, he's 11 years old, and I've been there. I know what it's like. But that shows a sense of character in him. So I'm proud of him for that. I always praise him when he does good. And I talk to him when he's, having a challenge with himself. I try to go deeper, not just spank, We got to get to the root of why a child may be behaving a certain way. And this male or female. Young brother, young sister. Yep. So salute to that, and salute to one's family and all my children, my divine children, my biological children. Because, and something I want to touch on, I seen a video or a podcast, and it said on there, being a stepfather is a thankfulest job. Nah, I don't really agree with that. It depends on the situation. Every situation is different. You can't apply your own situation to everyone else's. That's not right. To me, that's projection. So I disagree with that. I didn't even click onto it. See, and that's the thing I was saying about social media a little while ago. We can't just let everything pull on us. Now, we can listen. We don't have to comment or anything. Don't say anything. Just don't let it sway you. Because me, myself, I mean, it's been wonderful watching kids grow up that weren't mine. I've literally watched these kids grow from babies and watch them evolve into young adults. So I disagree with that. Every situation is different, but it's like I disagree, but I see where they're coming from too at the same time. But you got to watch that projection, because you can't make, again, we can't project our own situations onto others. Again, every situation is different. So, and of course, my situation may have been a little challenging, but when we begin to look at the bigger picture, we think about then things down the road. That's what keeps me righteously motivated and staying focused. And the children, I stay focused on the children, but I kind of disagree with that. But at the same time, I see where they're coming from. But nah, see, things like that can discourage you if your mind, body, and soul, if your thinking isn't in the right space of learning. That's why I say we can't let certain things pull us and sway us or discourage us. See, we can have reasoning within oneself. Thank you, Brother Kwaku, because that's what I learned that from. So I reason with oneself. I don't have to go on there and comment and fire back, because a lot of people do that. So sometimes we can just keep it between us, that great divine, and Mama Nature. Guess what, folks? It'll come out later. I like how that rhyme. I think that rhyme. Yeah, but I just wanted to touch on that for a minute, because it's been wonderful, being around children, my biological and divine. It's all about that righteous ripple effect, all that petty feeling and getting in our feelings. Miss me with that shit. I'm sorry. Because again, I'm a general and I'm seeing above and beyond, a wider scope, not just in this little dumbass human body. Real talk. We're seeking to be super vigilant, way above and beyond this thing we call a body. Again, there's been many historians and heroes that shown us the power we can possess, but when it's guided in a righteous way, not power over things or people or projection. We got to watch that projection and not get caught up in our own emotions, because sometimes we feel different from day to day. That's why the greatest philosophers would say meditate, solitude, that keep us from jumping off emotions or impulses. Things change from day to day, so that's why I say learning is powerful. But again, I said I disagree with that, but it's okay to talk about it. It's better. I would rather for an individual to talk about it than keep it within themselves. At least get it out. So I will say that. But again, I see where that individual was coming from. I don't want to be like I'm dumping on them or nothing, but at the same time, every situation is different. All right, moving on. So salute to one's family and my children and the great divine things that great divine has brought upon one's path, and making me see the core of things, and not just the surface. Because great divine and Mama Nature is not about surface. It's gonna bring things along our path that we won't see on the surface, and it's a reason for that, because divine and Mama Nature wants us to go deeper. That's how we develop that power, and we do learn things and amaze ourselves, as well as fight through challenges. All right, so that was something I wanted to speak on, and as I said, with the power of my great divine, I got my family. Real talk, and anyone that if I'm able to help, and with if I have the resources, I will give it to them. That's homeless, my family, children in the world, online. Remember, to gain real power, within oneself, we have to have a selfless spirit and solitude, rest, reason with oneself, so we can remain and sustain being the general a lot of us have become. That's what Because being a spell breaker and saying affirmations and, I'm saying I'm a general and warrior and saying these things, it's easier said than done. We have to practice it so we can stay. As I would like to say, we get to a place of peace. That's a good thing. But we have to study to keep that peace, maintain it. We don't never want to get too comfortable. Always got to stay on guard with other elements, fun, joy, laughter, love. But standing on business when it's time to stand on business, and that's what keeps a general strong, brother, sister, family in the world, online. Because we breaking spells now. We ain't playing. Real talk. Those who've been riding along on one's channel, if you got something out of what I say and Lord Lamont say, I thank you, because there were those that encouraged me. I listen to speakers too now. So, and there was a time when I didn't speak and I did a lot of listening, so be thankful if we do comprehend things. And again, it's not about me or other speakers. Those who are humble, we know. It's not about telling everybody else to do this, that, and the third, because everything I say applies to me too. That's why I would say I'm learning too. That's why I say learning is power. We're leaders and teachers with a student spirit, remember. All right, so those are some things I wanted to speak on. Always keep a family spirit, keep a protective spirit, and draw down that great protection from great divine by my nature. I'm telling you, we'll blaze through this life. All right, now leaders and teachers with a student spirit. Let's go. Spell breaker statement number 1. Keep a divine mind and body and soul at all times. Where the mind goes, the body goes, or where the body goes, the mind goes. Ponder that. All right. So keep a divine mind, even when it's not easy. That's when it's a test. Like a lot of us are being tested now, with things coming and the things that are happening. Now, I don't want to get too spiritual. This is just an opinion and or theory. Great divine is allowing things to happen in these times just to see all the crap that people talk about, to see if we're real. The great divine is not playing with us right now. So we better be real. Small space, big space. And it don't matter how much money we got, how much influence, it doesn't matter. We should know what that great divine, Mother Nature, draws energy from our core, our heart. Because only that divine knows what's in our heart. I don't care who we think we are, how sneaky we think we are. Great divine, just sit back laughing. It's the greatest power of the whole freaking universe. Are you kidding me? Again, we're not doing nothing. That great divine has seen our kind come and go. So just might as well be right. And the deep spiritual will come. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. All right. Spell breaker statement number 2. Have a space or place to rejuvenate. Yeah, I meant to rhyme that. Because that's how we maintain that fire that we have developed. Again, always keep a little divine evidence in our mind. Things we can't explain that got us through. Like I said about MJ. He said we're not alone. There's a higher power there that watches over us. Many of us have experienced this. It's not just no cosmic talk. We have experienced this. But remember, that real force, not this man-made God. That's what'll throw us off. As I said about things that can sway us and try to pull us away because as we like to say, a lot of us are awakened, but we got to keep in mind, there are also evil entities around us that also know that we are awakened. Keep that in mind, And it's not about being paranoid or scared. No, it's about being a general and being ready and seeing the little toxic things, the subtle ones and the big ones. Real talk. Spell breaker statement number 3. Study signs. I always talk about this. Study dreams, signs, synchronicities, and deja vus. Those are all windows, a little anticipation into the future. We study our dream, look them up. My son and I spoke to him about it. I looked it up. I told him about a dream I had about when I was saving the children. I don't know where we were, but I was saving them. And because what's in our subconscious, in the pit of our soul, a lot of times that's what we'll dream about. Whether it's something, a challenge we're having, it could be something positive, good or bad. Break it down, because as I like to say, a lot of things we see in our dreams, it might mean something totally different. So that's why it's kind of good to look it up. And again, I reiterate, I don't like to solely rely on Google, but just think of Google as an idea, what dreams may mean. And you'd be amazed. We could almost prevent things from happening. Paying attention to synchronicities, signs, dreams, deja vu. So that was number 3. All right. Spell breaker. Last but not least, spell breaker statement Number 4, keep our foundation strong. That's the most important. Our root, man, that root chakra, keep it strong, So our crown chakra, because it takes work. And I said this before, but if you want to really get to know yourself and become powerful, as, as far as knowing ourselves, knowing who we are, and becoming a general, study our chakras. I'm telling you, and study them one by one. Start with the first one. There's 7 chakras, as many of us know. And about time we get to the crown chakra, we should be full on aware, somewhat aware, because we learn it's something different in every chakra. And there's different things we learn along the way. Because learning about our chakras is like a journey. And each chakra is something different and amazing, and something maybe a little uncomfortable, especially toward the mid part, the mid chakra. I don't remember all the names off the top of my head. But that 3rd chakra and that 4th, that's where the battles are. Right before we get to that 5th one and that 6th one, I would say between, I would say the most challenging between the 3rd chakra and the 6th chakra, between right in there. That's where the hardest, toughest, roughest, because that's where the emotions, the thinking, the impulses, deflecting toxic feelings and and stuff like that. Man, that's the filtering process between the 3rd chakra and the 6th. If you don't win that battle between those chakras, between 3 and 6, the crown chakra gonna be a mess. Real talk, because that's the last chakra of all. So in my theory and their opinion, if you want to be better at relationships, friendships, brotherhood, sisterhood, family, study our chakras, get to know ourselves so we can see what makes us tick, so we can understand others' behaviors and emotions, and we don't have to jump to everything, and even if somebody is trying to provoke us, whether it's person, place, or thing, step back, think about it, become one with our emotions, and when something needs to be confronted, we'll know when and we'll know how to confront it, but stay with it. And again, pay attention to ourselves, children, and our family and significant other, our immediate family. Don't get swayed by and be careful of we all say the distractions is being thrown, especially these celebs. A lot of them are just fucking distractions, real talk. So, and don't be no celebrity worshiper, real talk, and you can lose yourself, as well as the media and or social media. So those were some things I wanted to speak on in Spellbreaker statements. Again, keep our foundation strong with, lovingly, positive word, financially. It's not all about the money, but stay disciplined there. Stay disciplined in as many areas as we possibly can, because as I said, with that power, that great divine, I got my family. Real talk. If they need something, I got them. Real talk. Children, family, anyone, because we got to help each other in this spiritual battle that we are in. We are in the battle whether we know it or not. As I love to say, if we willy-nilly don't have no purpose or don't care and don't think, living in a false sense reality and not paying attention, danger. I feel sorry for you. Those are the ones, those who don't care and think that shit is a game sometimes. Those are going to be the ones that's going to be lost. Real talk. So we might not be able to be ready for everything, but we can damn sure from 1 to 100 as far as being ready for person, place, thing, this world, things to come, technology, etc., etc. From 1 to 100, we can at least be, I'll give us 97%, 97% ready. If we can do that, we good. We can get to that 100. We, again, any challenge that comes, we tackle it. If we can't get it right away, we put it in our divine mental file and come back to it. But we don't give up on shit. We come at it at every angle, just like evil entities do to us, as they come at us at every angle, if not all angle. We do the same thing when we're learning and searching and thriving through this life. We ain't surviving, we thriving. Real talk. A lot of us have thrived and blazed, as I love to say, through fire. So thank those for coming in to another edition of EBX Discussion and Lord Lamont, EBX and Lord Lamont Show. And I'm going to read a page, as I said, from my book, Unlocking the Vault. And I'm going to salute you, Divine Warrior Zone, to your divine life. Brother, sister, family, in the world, online. We keep a divine wide scope. Super vigilance. I'm on that. That's the energy one is putting out. All right, let's go. Leaders and teachers with a student spirit. This is page 37, and it was 10/4/2024. Unlocking the vault. Let's go. And I read this in the past, I don't know, maybe last year on another podcast. Man, I be rhyming. Woo, I swear I don't be meaning to do that. That's because I love hip hop, it's in one soul. All right, let's go. Leaders and teachers, spell breakers. Wake up thankful every day. Puts a smile on that great divine's face, so to speak. Start every day on a high and ready vibration. Develop a protective spirit. Something I speak on a lot. Let our spirit be a bully, righteously. When we are on a divine path, our spirit will amplify. The more in tune we are with our divine spirit, the more clarity and power we will have. But don't take it for granted or use our power to manipulate, trick, or undermine, because this divine walk would be all for nothing. As I like to say, we never know what that divine has in store for us, because one don't care who we think we are. I don't care who we think we are. That great divine is the boss, as well as Mama Nature, and that law of the universe, or principle of the universe, is all what rules at the end of the day. We connected to those, and don't think it's weird or a cosmic thing. It's just seeking to learn better. Like I said, learning is power. When we are aware of things, that's what will help us in these complex times. You better be in the space of learning. If you still taking selfies and trying to be seen and get attention and all these things, and again, we could have some fun with the world, the media, and the entertainment, because again, I love comedy, I love music, but again, we gotta pay attention to things that are coming down the road. All the things that we're used to, I'm telling you, we better learn stuff like growing our own food and being resourceful. Don't spend money stupidly. Save as much as we can. Because I like to say, I haven't had a bank account like 45, I don't know how many years. And, it's helped me to become more disciplined. We can't be afraid. I boycott banks. I don't do banks. I don't do digital, none of that shit. I got a card if I need it, but I don't shop online. I don't do none of that shit, It's just things that Great Divine will put in our spirit sometimes. Sometimes we don't understand, but has that Great Divine, the real divine in our gut, has it ever let us down? Again, not this plagiarized God that some of these Christians are following. And that's another thing. We're not followers, We ride along. We're leaders and teachers with the student spirit. We're changing that damn narrative. We ain't no damn followers, So we can ride along, be inspired by those, That's how we got to look at ourselves. Generals, warriors, not followers or fans, We are people too, because there are real individuals that do be on social media. And as I love to say, we're in the righteous circles. We'll know who the allies are. We'll know who the righteous generals are. Reachers and teachers, we'll know who they are, whether it's in our family, brothers and sisters in the world, online. So again, thank those for coming in, and stay with it. If you have any kind of passion, turn that small flame into a big flame. Be amazed when we just do a kind act and help someone. Again, it's not about being naive and trying to please everyone. And when we at a place of supervigilance, we'll know how to work that discernment. We'll know who wants help and we can help, and who not. We'll know when to say no. Real talk. So just keep reasoning with oneself, as I learned from a great brother. And I'm telling you, we'll blaze through this life and be as ready as much as we can. Keep learning whatever we need to learn. Don't waste time. Find some time to learn about things I don't care, whatever it is, like the tiger spirit I was talking about. We can learn a lot of things from nature, many things, so especially as far as growing our food. And this has been in my spirit a long time. You know how you have things in your spirit and you need to get to them. That's one of the things I wanted to get into, growing food and learning about that and teaching it to our youth that's coming up, because that's something they need to learn too, and not relying on this technology, some of it but not all of it, and do some things that keep us original and authentic, because that's what will give us clarity and help us where we can see things. So, and as I want for all of us, and myself, family, reaches and teaches, for good things to come back to us and ideas and helping us to see somewhat into the future. We send out that righteous ripple effect, and I'm telling you, the way we can make it through this complex time, brothers and sisters, generals, man, brothers and sisters in the world online. I'm telling you, stand bold and know. We got to know, and that learning is power all day, every day. So stay with it. By generals, my spell breakers, may that great divine be in our life, and protect us, brothers and sisters, family. Keep us prospering all over the world. Real talk. Salute. Rest in peace and in power, MJ. Thank you, man. We love you. And this has been brought to you by Mama Nature